Hey guys, welcome back to the Hangar. In this episode, we are going to take a break from doing the bathroom and we are going to start working on designing the kitchen. The reason why we're doing this is because with all the COVID and the supply chain delays and all the issues going on right now, we're nervous that if we don't order cabinets as soon as possible, we'll end up waiting on them. So we expect there to be a very long lead time on cabinets. So we're going to go ahead and try and get those cabinets ordered now. We have a couple different options that we've been looking at here. I have been calling around town looking at some local cabinet shops to see if anyone wants to come in and just give me a reasonable price to do the whole kitchen. But I think the most likely scenario is going to be that I'm going to order pre-made cabinets and then hang them myself. So in order to do that, we have to go ahead and design the kitchen so I know what type of cabinets to order. So this is a little bit of a different type of video. We're going to do most of it on the computer because a lot of it's just going to be design and kind of 3D modeling to figure out what exactly we want the kitchen to look like. But it's a very important part of the task. So I'm going to end up showing you some models and stuff that me and my wife sat down together and designed, and I'm just showing you kind of the end product, but recognize that there was a lot of time and effort that went into these, and I kind of felt like it warranted a video. So I'm going to go ahead and cut over to what the kitchen looks like now so we get an idea of what we need for cabinets, and then we'll go over to the computer and we'll try and get or show you all the design that we've come up with. So forgive all of the stuff. We are kind of just using the house as some storage area now and kind of got a temporary kitchen set up until we actually get everything here to kind of install. So I wanted to start here by showing you, this is what the kitchen looks like when you walk in. So I'm standing in the living room right now, and there's this opening, this kind of partial wall that we framed and drywalled in. And then up there, that kick out is the beam. That's the only beam that we actually hid in drywall. So the plan is going to be here on both sides of this wall. When you walk in, you'll see all the way through into the kitchen. But we're going to have some cabinets and then maybe some shelves that go all the way up to the ceiling on both sides. And we may do some shelves across the top. We're not entirely sure about that yet. But this is the kitchen space that we're working with. So once again, this is all just a temporary setup, so none of this stuff will be here. The plan is to kind of have, pantries, big tall pantries on both sides where we have these shelves. We're going to have double ovens over here. That's where I set up the power for the double ovens. Over here, we're going to have a refrigerator. You'll notice where I plumbed in the water fixture for the ice maker. So just kind of remember that, and it'll all make sense when I show you here the 3D model. And then, of course, we just have the rest of the kitchen. We're planning on having a big U-shaped countertop with an island in the middle. We had this kind of box that we built here. On this side, there is a main giant metal beam for the metal building. So we built that box to hide that beam. And then this one is just an empty box that we built to mirror it. So now the kitchen will fit kind of into that. And the plan is we're going to have an accent wall or a backsplash or something here above the sink. I haven't cut the holes or hung the fixtures yet, but I do have some can lights that I did wire into here, and we have the switch for those there. That other switch runs that plug for the garbage disposal. But we will have some can lights there in the top, and then this whole back will either be, like a wood or a tile accent wall. We haven't 100% decided. So there's some things that you need to recognize here. Just to consider when you'll see the decisions that we made with how we want the kitchen to look. And you'll notice that the windows are on either side of the sink. We did that because, once again, we had a big main beam here and we were unable to fit a big window above the sink. So we ended up doing 2 windows on either side. That being said, we don't want upper cabinets that go all the way up to those windows and block those windows. So we want to let as much light in as possible. So we need to figure out something in order to not block those windows with either upper cabinets. We're planning on doing floating shelves. That's how we're going to solve that problem. And I'll let you see that here in the model. But yeah, that's essentially it. That's the whole kitchen as it's laid out. It's kind of a big rectangle. So let's not waste any time here. Let's go look at it as we have designed it. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at kind of the floor layout, the rough plan of the kitchen, which is what you see here. So I guess before we go any further, I'm sure some people will probably ask, the program I'm using is the SketchUp 2017 free version. This is not a SketchUp tutorial. There's a ton of really good YouTube videos out there, but for me, this has been a really, really nice tool to have. So that I can kind of visualize things before we go ahead and build them. So this is SketchUp 2017. I'm a big fan. It's not as powerful as a lot of your 3D modeling stuff like SolidWorks or Pro Engineer or whatever they changed their name to now, but it is a good free program that lets you kind of design and build dimensional pictures in a 3D space. So what I got here is I have a rectangle that's essentially just the shape of the kitchen. So you can see the kitchen is 16 foot 10 inches deep, 14 foot 1 inches wide. What I've added here kind of as for reference is here is that wall that we framed in, or partial wall with the opening, which would run here. I added this right here, which is where the electrical for the island has been stubbed up from the slab. And here as well, this is a center point directly underneath the beam, and we want to center the island under the beam. So this is where I want the center of the island to be. And then these two squares here refer to the kind of where the boxes that we built to hide those beams stick out, and then the sink will be centered up in between them. So from here, the next step was just to kind of model the kitchen space, was the very, very first thing we did. So you can see this is the kitchen. This is that framed in opening with the sheetrocked over beam right here. And this is the space itself, and you can see we have the beam, once again all the rest of the stuff, the stub out for the electrical, and where we want the center of the island. You'll notice that I added some shape, and I measured and I made this box exactly how it is in the actual kitchen, and the same as these windows with their kind of deep set back into the actual metal bidding itself. So these are the actual window locations as they are in the kitchen. So from here, we're going to jump over and I'm going to show you how the cabinets are going to look, or at least the cabinets that I need to buy. But once again, this took a lot of effort to kind of get to this point. So this is our plan for how we want the kitchen cabinets to look. So, and the colors are fairly accurate as well. We're going to try and go with kind of a gray greenish color for the bottom cabinets here. We're going to have white for the upper cabinets and all of the tall cabinets, and then we're going to do a dark green for the island. So essentially, knowing that I had this space to work with, I just started with the things that I knew that we needed to have. So we didn't design a closet or a pantry into this. So we knew that we needed pantry space, and we'd already designed and laid out power for a lot of the appliances. So we kind of started with those. So the first thing we did is we designed the two pantries, and these are just kind of standard 24-inch deep, 33-inch wide, 96-inch tall cabinets. These aren't the exact cabinets that we're going to go with. We're going to go with more of like a colonial or shaker style door. I just made all the doors flat to make it it was just easier to draw that way, and all we're really doing is a cartoon, a dimensional cartoon, to know exactly what we need. But we knew that we wanted a couple things in this kitchen. We knew we wanted everything to be nice and mirrored, right, just for aesthetics. So we kind of wanted mirror images of everything, have it be symmetric down the middle when you walk into the kitchen. We have these... So we know we wanted pantries on both sides, and then we did the same sort of thing with, we mirrored the fridge and then the double ovens. So we are going to go with double wall ovens here, and this is something that you can buy pre-built from any cabinet shop. It's just a 96-inch tall, 33-inch wide surround for double ovens. And then over here, it won't be exactly 33, it'll be 36 for a larger refrigerator, but we did get a cabinet depth refrigerator, so it's not as deep as your standard. We went with a little bit shallower refrigerator so it doesn't stick too far out from the cabinets themselves. They do have some kind of wall cabinets that can go above your refrigerator. Because we went with the 96-inch tall here, I ended up just stacking 2 up in order to make it, be that same height all the way through. Once we got to this point, we knew we were going to kind of jump over to just standard height bottom cabinets that wrapped all the way around. So we knew that we wanted the cooktop centered up under the beam, and that's also how we ran the power for the cooktop. It's designed so that we have a 36-inch cooktop here will be centered up under the beam. So we went ahead and got a pre-made kind of cabinet for cooktops, and then that left us a gap here that we were able to fill with a 15-inch cabinet. And then the only other appliance that we have over here is the dishwasher. Now note, our original plan was going to be to put the dishwasher right here, and we tried to do it, and there just isn't enough room around this kind of jut out for that beam in this corner. So we ended up moving the dishwasher over to here, and this butts up exactly to, I have my shop sink right here. So I'll cut a hole in the drywall underneath the cabinet, and we will drain the dishwasher into the shop sink, right now is the current plan. And then everything else is just pretty much standard cabinets. So we got 24-inch wide, 24-inch wide. These are just standard corner cabinets here. These, you open the door, the kind we're looking at, and they have big old lazy Susans on the inside so that you can utilize all that space. This is just your standard 36-inch wide sink cabinet. And then we have a couple of 15-inch wide cabinets that you can pay a little extra, and they will shorten the depth from 24 to 12. And that'll work so that we have a little bit of gap in front of that beam. All that will be covered by countertops, so you won't see any of that gap, of course. But that'll allow us to kind of continue the face. You'll have one solid face of countertops right across those beams. And then over on this side, we just went with standard 24-inch cabinets, and that leaves us a perfect sized gap for the dishwasher. So that is kind of our design for lower cabinets. And you're starting to see how everything's coming together with the big U wrapped around countertop, the island in the middle. From there, we did want some upper countertops, but we didn't want the upper countertops to approach too close to that window like I mentioned before. The microwave we're going with has a kind of a vent built into it, so we do want that microwave centered over the cooktop. So I ended up using another one of these kind of shallow 12-inch deep by 36-inch wide by 12-inch tall cabinet here, and these are just standard 12-inch upper cabinets. We went with the 42-inch high, the ultra tall ones, so that we have to match the height of the 96 inches that we went everywhere else. So we are not taking cabinets up all the way to the ceiling. There will be a gap above the cabinets that is about a foot. So we've got about a foot above the cabinets till the ceiling, so they won't go all the way up. But I think it's going to look great just the way it is. Finally, we kind of get to the island here, and the island, we knew we wanted about a 3-foot by 6-foot island, and the best way to kind of make that happen, we figured, was to have two 24-inch cabinets and then an 18 in the middle, and that gives us a pretty good dimension. Note that these are just standard bottom cabinets, 24-inch deep bottom cabinets, and we want it wider than that, and I'll show you how we solve that problem kind of on the next render. So finally, we get back to here, and this is kind of our final render of what we expect the kitchen to look like. So I will let me move this wall so that y'all can kind of see in a little bit better. But like we said, this isn't exactly all the way done. There'll be a big cooktop here, and there'll be a big sink here. But other than that, you will have uninterrupted counter space that wraps all the way around in this U. You can see here we widen those 24-inch cabinets with a 33 wide end cap. And the idea is here we can have the countertop hang over, and this will allow us a space to put some bar stools at the island. So we're going to have a little bit of a place to tuck some bar stools into here. And exactly how that island's going to look, we have a couple different options, but I think this is kind of how it's going to be. So I will buy just your basic countertops, and then I will build the end caps myself that I will kind of close the ends in, and that'll make it nice and finished looking when you walk in. We'll also have to cover this face of these cabinets with some shiplap or some beadboard or something like that, and also paint that to match the island is the plan. But yeah, so that's essentially it. We went through several iterations of how this kitchen was going to look out. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. And these are kind of the dimensions that we're thinking about going with for these kind of floating shelves here in this corner. That won't block any of the light, and I think it kind of ties everything together. We are planning on doing a natural kind of stained wood finish, so I'm probably going to wrap them in, pine or something, and then stain the beams, whatever we wrap them with, whatever type of 1 by 12 by, a 1 by 8 on the bottom or something like that. Whatever we wrap them with in pine will stain, and then we'll match that finish with these shelves to kind of tie everything together. And then right here, this kind of shows a tile backsplash. That's just, a generic tile texture that they had built into the program. So it probably won't look like that, but it gives you an idea of how the kitchen will kind of look. So when you walk in, standing in the living room, this is what it'll look like here. And remember, once again, we're going to have cabinets here and probably shelves that go all the way to the ceiling. So this will look like a wall of built-ins. And then you'll walk into the kitchen and you'll be able to see how we have, the pantries on either side, the double ovens on the one side, the refrigerator on the other side. You'll have all your tall upper cabinets, and then your big U-shaped countertop with your island in the middle. So it's a fairly simple layout for a kitchen, but I really like the way it looks. See if I have I didn't. But I do really like the way it looks. I think it's got a good flow to it. I really do like how symmetrical it is. It's going to have a ton of storage space, a ton of workspace for Kelly to be able to use the kitchen, and I think it's going to turn out just absolutely awesome. Over here, I kind of have a couple different options for how we can handle the island. We can either kind of build these custom end caps, which I think I like the look of better. You can also buy kind of pre-made end caps that just cover 24-inch deep cabinets. So if you were to walk into a kitchen, you saw the end of a cabinet, they have a cover for those that you can just buy already pre-made. And then I can put legs to kind of do the other side. This would be probably a little bit easier just because everything would be pre-made and all I do is assemble it. But I kind of like the way that this looks a little bit better. I'm not a big fan, and of course the legs wouldn't have to be this style of leg either. That's just a generic leg. But I kind of like the way that this looks more. So I think that's what we're going to go with. I think Kelly agrees with me on that. But then you'll have also all this storage space underneath the island. And you'll also notice that, there is where the power stubs up for the island, and I will be able to have some outlets probably on these short sides. I can probably even do some outlets here on this back side as well. So we will have power to the island also. But there it is, guys. That's kind of the plan we have for the kitchen. So essentially what this let us do is this let us get a list of exactly what cabinets I need to order. So I have everything listed out. I had it all labeled on here when I actually made the program, and I just went through and transcribed all of these lists. And now I am shopping around on various websites trying to get different quotes to see how much it'll cost to custom order these cabinets. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed kind of the design process and seeing what we think the kitchen's going to look like when it's all said and done. Stay tuned for future videos. We should be back working on the guest bathroom and getting tiling on the shower. So I'll catch you on the next one.